presenter from Sierra Leone. Thank you so much, Jasper, for being patient. Over to you.
Thank you. I bring you greetings from the government and people of the Republic of Sierra Leone. I'm very happy to be here. We look forward to sharing our experiences and learning from the experiences of others, and also building partnerships with everyone here and beyond. Sierra Leone has quite a unique advantage in that the Ministries of Education have a close partnership with the Directorate of Science, Technology and Innovation, which sits within the Office of the President. In fact, the Minister of Basic and Secondary Education doubles as the country's Chief Innovation Officer. So we leverage on that nexus. The second advantage is that we have a plan. In 2019, we articulated a 10-year roadmap called the National Innovation and Digital Strategy, NEEDS. NEEDS was built on 3 principles: mobile first, country as AI lab, and hybrid technologies. Health tech in Sierra Leone is not just a priority in our education agenda, but it is actually at the heart of the broader national development plan. At DSTI, where I work, we promote evidence-based policy making, data for decision making, efficiency and effectiveness in public service delivery, and we work closely with the Education Ministry and partners in the education space. We developed the Education Data Hub, which is an explorative and interactive dashboard that captures all the variables that affect the delivery of free quality education across the country. During the COVID pandemic, we made sure that teaching and teaching content was delivered on mass media, radio and television. So children who were under lockdown did not miss out on school. We work closely with UNICEF to connect schools through their GIGA project. And we work closely with UNICEF again to digitize curriculum through their learning passport. In everything we do, we have a scientific approach, and our watchword is impact, impact, impact. Among all the great work that we do, there is one that I would like to share with you that I'm particularly fascinated by. 468. First, let me paint a picture. The NPSC exams and the Becker exams are the country's standardized tests for entry into secondary school and mid-secondary school levels. About 162,000 and 132,000 candidates wrote these exams last year. Before writing the exams, students would have stated their school of choice, a single school, no options. They would then write the exams and wait for a while for the results to come out. And when the results are out, their parents would have to buy a scratch card that gives them access to the West African Examination Council online portal, where they would then enter the candidate's details, print, and have a copy of the results. If the students couldn't get into their choice school, the single choice school, the staff at the Education Secretariat would have to manually place those candidates into schools that are nearest to their previous school, manually. There were several problems with this. For a country where about 53% of the population live below the poverty line, it was difficult for people to purchase scratch cards that cost about twice the average daily income, household income. Secondly, because students only had one choice school, the distribution of choice schools was skewed towards good schools, and these good schools would run out of space quickly, leaving candidates and their parents confused as to the manual placement of their children into other schools later. What did we do? We realized that in Sierra Leone, less than 30% of our population have access to the internet, but over 90% of the population have mobile phones. So we developed a USSD and SMS-based result checker and school placement checker giving millions of Sierra Leoneans free and instant access to exam results and placement information. Even people with the least technical mobile phones and those who lived in the most remote areas of the country benefit from this. For the results checker, we pulled data from the West African Examination Council, which eliminated the need for buying scratch cards. And for the school placement, we first increased the limits of school choices from 1 to 3. Then we developed an algorithm that replaces the manual placement system. The algorithm ranks candidates' performances in descending order of their aggregate score and places them into their schools of choice in their chosen priority until those schools are filled with the best performing students. If a candidate couldn't make it to their first, second, or third school of choice, the algorithm automatically places them into a school that is geographically located closest to the previous school that they attended. This system is fairer, it is more efficient, and has more logic to it. What are the impacts of this intervention? Since August 2020 to date, we have a usage count of 4.9 million people, 4.9 million uses of the 468 results checker, and about 60,000 people have used the placement checker. We have had about 500,000 unique users on 468, and we have saved people money. In money terms, the unique users account for about $2.4 million, which is how much we have saved if they had only used the system once. But because they use it several times, the repeat count when compared to if they had to buy scratch cards, our people have saved about $4.5 million. That's $4.5 million back in the pockets of poor people who live in rural areas who could not have afforded to leave their houses, commute to a vendor who sells scratch card, and then leave the vendor, the location of the vendor who sells scratch card, goes and finds an internet cafe, enters the candidate's details, downloads, prints the statements of results. Bearing in mind that over half of our adult population are illiterate. At DSTI and at the Ministry of Basic and Senior and Secondary Education, and the Ministry of Education at large in the government of Sierra Leone, we are very much particular about impact and about evidence-based policy making, which is why everything we do is guided either by the Education Data Hub or by research. Another example, one of our biggest projects that we did in Sierra Leone is the Education Innovation Challenge, which seed and tests interventions that improve foundational literacy and numeracy among primary school students. For that project, we implemented, monitored, and evaluated all the activities using randomized controlled trials. We closely work with DSTI, and we closely work with the Ministry of Education and partners within the EdTech space to ensure that all activities are monitored, evaluated, and appraised to ensure that the impact and the intended purposes are achieved. We look forward to learning and partnering with everyone here and beyond, and to making sure that we improve education through technology in Sierra Leone and across the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Jasper. And I have to say, I'm always impressed by the amazing work that Sierra Leone is doing with data-driven decision-making and the Education Data Hub. So thank you so much for sharing that. We have now actually